How's it, guys?
Morning, boys.
Morning, guys.
How's it going?
Excellent.
I've just got to make a call quick.
Okay.
Johannesburg Whiskey 0531. Expect shits and stars in use. Zone VMC. Runway 21 left for arrival. Runway 21 right for departure. Tower and ground on 121.9. No ILS available. Transition level 90. Wind 030 degrees 4 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Cloud unavailable. Temperature 7. Dew point -7. QNH 1027. No sig. Confirm Johannesburg information whiskey on first contact.
Right.
Yeah.
What does that mean? No ILS available at Joburg International or FAOR or Tambo. No ILS.
Yeah. It's going to put a span in your works with the planning, eh? Coming into Joburg, you get told that you're going to have to whip out the plates and start planning on an alternative approach procedure. Either a VRR or a GNSS approach.
And it's not just that. I mean, think about you coming in from a
long haul
operator. They're used to doing ILSs. You know what it's like if you're going into an airport you don't know, you're not overly familiar with. You do the ILS. In fact, your SOPs will tell you if there's an ILS available, you have to use it.
Even if you're flying a visual approach.
If it's a visual approach. So, yeah. Basically what's happened there, the CAA have not been able to do the calibrations on the ILS systems. I think Durban as well.
Cape Town and Kruger International, Nelspruit.
Kruger International, yeah. So, end in sight when they've got to be calibrated. Have they nominated anyone?
I've done some reading. It looks like there's a European company that's got an aircraft and equipment available. They're waiting to get to South Africa, but obviously due to COVID restrictions, they're not here yet. So, yeah, big spanner in the works.
Brett, basically fill you in, yeah. You know, ILS obviously gives you your lateral and vertical guidance into a runway, and we rely on the CAA for doing these calibration test flights. That aircraft was, when was that crash?
January.
So that, I haven't even seen an accident investigation report on that yet, mind you. But yeah, we don't have an aircraft to do the calibrations, and we've now got our main airport here in South Africa without an instrument landing system.
How often does the calibration need to happen?
To be honest, I don't quite know. You see that aircraft, you used to fly around quite a lot. There's an exemption that happened now. I think they had 180 days or something on top of it. I could be wrong with that, but that exemption has now come to an end and still not calibrated. So I think Joburg Airport's going to be without an ILS system for a while. CAA dropped the ball.
Yep, yeah. That should have, when that accident happened, I'm pretty sure they did try and source a replacement aircraft and equipment quite quickly. But yeah, there's a lot of complications around the whole tender process around that whole thing. It's not just a matter of, hey, who's got an aircraft and equipment available? We need to get this sorted out. And obviously with the tender processes behind this whole thing, it's created these delays as well as COVID. But yeah, if they don't start sorting this out soon, this thing is just going to snowball out of hand, because like we said, Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, Kruger, a whole lot of other airports, and all our VRRs around South Africa are no longer calibrated. The other snag is our neighbouring countries, Mozambique, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, all relied on that aircraft to do their calibrations as well. So you got a long haul aircraft coming in from Europe or the States or wherever. They're going to do an approach into Joburg, can't get in. Then they have, might decide to divert to Gaborone, but pretty soon Gaborone's ILS might not be calibrated. So
if Gaborone ILS is working in the first place.
So there's all these complications that just snowball.
Yeah, it's not a good situation. And just for the listeners out there that, the non-aviators, obviously that ILS you use, when you've got limited visibility or fog, rain, whatever it might be, it's the safer approach to use. And we also use it. It's there as a backup to a visual approach as well. So even when the weather is like it is today, nice clear skies, but you will always have that ILS frequency selected in the background, and use it. The pilots will use it as a reference. So we'll leave it there. But
well, before you leave it, what is the implications from an international ICAO perspective or international standards? EASA, FAA, I mean, surely there must be a ramification.
Look, the standard is to have an ILS available wherever you are in the world, and it's an abnormality to not have it working, particularly at your hub airport in your country.
Yeah, you see, there's a big push worldwide to get satellite-based approaches going, which they've started in recent years with our RNAV and GNSS approaches. But there's restrictions with that because, for instance, you can't use Durban now as an alternate with there not being any ILS or VOR available and plan on using a GNSS approach, because the rules state that if you're going to divert, your alternate must have a ground-based approach available if you're planning to use a GPS approach. So, yeah, there's a lot of restrictions on planning.
Yeah, look, it's an old-fashioned system. It's a very old-fashioned system that will be replaced by ground-based satellite systems that you can use. You can do GPS approaches, precision GPS approaches, but we don't have that capacity here yet. We'll keep you updated on the tender process and see what happens there, but no doubt we'll see. Not going to go into it much more. We'll see.
I don't know what the impact is, but I mean, obviously we know borders are still closed, but the World Travel Organization has issued a directive effectively that South Africa has approved because of our protocols in place to be a destination to come to. Great time to open the borders and send planes in without the appropriate equipment in place.
Yeah. No, look, it's like the CIA did release a press statement and that. It doesn't shut the airport down. It doesn't stop you from flying.
It's not yet unsafe.
It's not unsafe. And the pilots they'll just make another plan if need be. It's just something nice to have, and it's something that we should have.
Yeah. I think what we're trying to say is it's just we've dropped the ball in standards, which shouldn't have happened.
That's exactly it.
Remember that guy in Cape Town when he used to fly? Are you planning on a visual?
No, you will be doing it. You know what? Have you guys Flight Radar app? Yeah, it's a cool app. You can have a look and see where what's going on, and it is so depressing when you focus in on Africa and look at it's just this bare mass of no aircraft. There's a few 4 or 5 aircraft flying around, but then you scroll up to Europe, and Europe's packed. Scroll across to the North America, packed. South America, not so packed. But this whole sort of closure of those African borders, it's a concern, man. We need these borders open. We need these economies running and the borders open and aeroplanes flying. And it's the only way the normality is going to come back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just said it earlier. We're waiting for our esteemed leader to give us another fellow South African's speech, and it sounds like the rumor is that they're going to be going to level 2 any day now.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope those borders are part of the plan to get open.
Yeah, let's hope the great communicator talks to us on the weekend sometime, and hopefully next week we level 2 lockdown, or better yet, they scrap the whole lockdown. That'll be the best. But
there's big calls around the world for governments, specifically African governments, to step in and open borders and get economies going. The impact is it's rolling. It's the snowball effect. The impact, we know it was going to be large. It's getting bigger and bigger the longer we leave it. And I don't understand the reasoning behind it. Everyone's got their own viewpoint of this whole pandemic. Some are terrified, some couldn't give a damn about it. Some look at CNN's numbers and some look at other numbers, and none of them are correlating.
Yeah.
So, but bottom line, no matter what your viewpoint is on this thing.
You mean the lamestream media's numbers?
That one. Oh, is that one? Man, I finally figured it out.
If you want the real numbers, this is where you find it.
Friday podcast.
But all of the powers that be around the world saying Africa has to open borders. It is enough now. It's done. Our numbers are not shooting through the roof. We've got deaths that are not massive by any means. Something has to be done now.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it now, the impact is just gonna snowball.
Gonna be massive.
Yeah.
Do you see Airlink now starting a daily flight to East London? I think they go there in the morning, return in the afternoon, which is good. Airlink still flying to the most destinations of all our local operators, which is great. And Semi flying to George as well.
I hadn't seen that,
Yeah,
Sure.
Semi is flying to George. Semi have really come to the party during the pandemic. You've seen them a lot in the media with the repatriation flights, and they're doing their best. They deserve a tap on the back.
Yeah, look, I mean, everybody's taking advantage of the gaps that are being left in the market. And it's good to see these privately owned companies actually doing well.
Yeah, you connected to the charter side. There must be a bit of excitement there now with level 2.
Yeah.
Maybe we can, the charter companies get running again.
A lot of rumblings there. I know that the travel agents, there's been a lot of chatter in the last week or so, especially with the rumours of level 2 coming in. They're getting excited, and they're still very optimistic that when lockdown's lifted, people want to travel. People are going to be coming back, and I think tourism, and particularly the charter industry, will bounce back quickly. Said it from the beginning, quite positive that it will be. And it looks like their forecast for 2021, if this is all over, 2021 is going to be a much, much better year.
Oh, that's great.
It can't be worse.
It can't be worse. But there is this sort of upbeat tourism vibe going on right
Even
now.
the adverts coming out from travel agents. Previous to this, it was they can organise some repatriation flights and they can get you on. And now suddenly it's, let's tell you about this safari lodge. So a lot of the local ones in your provinces now, I've seen a lot of my mates suddenly disappearing into game farms.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to advertise outside of your province. So I think they've got a little bit of, we can only hope it's a bit of inside knowledge. It's the same as the Tops bottle stores. They're taking all the wrappings off the windows. What does that say?
Hey,
I think a lot of their positivity there is also stemming from listening to the podcast.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
The subscribers are climbing, and I know there's a big push towards the travel agents to get stuck in on the podcast. So that's where the positivity stems.
I think someone's going to the travel agent.
He's obviously getting a. Yeah,
why not? Isn't it the government way? I mean,
yeah, I'm learning from
from your esteemed leaders. Do you know 1 in 4,300 chance you have of catching COVID on an aircraft? So don't let that be an excuse as to not travel by air. Your big risk of catching it is when you leave the front door. So don't come with these excuses, because I'm hearing the odd person, I'm going to wait a bit, it's still a bit dangerous to travel in an aircraft. It's not. It's more dangerous to go to Woolworths.
Yeah.
So support your local airlines.
That is so, yeah.
Safair, Mango, Link, all the guys, Seme, buy a ticket, go to Cape Town if you can, go to Durban. They need your support. Preferably buy it through your travel agent, because they really need your support.
Exactly.
And stay at your local B&B that you used to, because they need your support. But please, 1 in 4,300 chance of catching it on an aircraft.
Well, I was reading the stats about that as well from my travel agent, and on an aircraft, the air is cleared and fresh air coming in every 2 to 3 minutes on an aircraft. A theatre room, the air's only refreshed every 10 minutes, and an office every 20 minutes. So for me, I'd rather be on an aeroplane than anywhere else.
No, there's no doubt.
I think you have more chance of catching COVID-47.
Wait, that's next week.
Yeah, let me not give you any ideas.
Don't give them any ideas.
So, listen, we weren't supposed to talk about COVID in the first place. That
No.
was an absolute no-no.
Yeah, Captain COVID, thanks.
Yeah, here we go again.
Do you see, just going back to SEME again, they've organised a repatriation sort of deal with Qatar. In like, these repatriation flights, there's a lot of stories this last that I've picked up. Now the government are trying to sort of firm down on what a repatriation flight is. But I know a lot of people that have jumped on repatriation flights and are now sitting in Europe having a holiday on the beach.
I know a couple of Greek people doing just that.
Yeah, well, they're using the repatriation flight as a flight, which is obviously as a normal flight, which isn't what it was supposed to be. But I think now the government's also cottoned on to the fact that this is happening, and now they're trying to sort of wind it down. But SEME and Qatar in a bit of a deal there, sort of a joint venture deal.
Well, talk about strange deals. Have you seen the deal between Israel and the UAE? So they're combining together and working together, and that's something that I never thought I'd ever see, that Israel and the UAE would be coming together and doing business together.
COVID does weird things.
It does affect the brain.
It does, yeah. Have you picked up anything this week going away from the news? Anything cool that you've seen, Ryan, Brett? I came across a nice website. A guy, I actually saw his page on LinkedIn, guy Jason Northwood, South African guy. He's got a website, www.goglobalseries.com. Quite cool. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but worth a look on his website. It's got quite a lot of aviation stuff, tourism stuff, and also like adventure stuff. So quite a cool website, and a nice one of his videos he's got on there. It was experience versus expertise. I found it was quite a nice thing. So just a nice website I found. And other than that, you guys, anything cool?
Some job alerts popping up, hey?
They are.
Which is quite surprising so early on. The odd advert for specifically captain or first officer type rated, but it's happening.
I've got a job alert for you.
Yeah?
Rishworth Aviation. I think it was a 320 to fly in Vietnam. You keen? $400 US dollars a month.
$400 US dollars a month.
$400 US dollars a month.
What, as a guy that pumps the tires?
No, as a I assume that's actually a captain's position.
$400 a month.
Are you sure there was another zero somewhere? Or two?
$400 a month.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So we all-
Shame on you, Vietnam. Shame on you, Rishworth, for actually posting that in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm honestly hoping that there's a typo there, because that is taking a bad situation and
making it totally
blatantly
That's
taking advantage of it. I mean, that is
exploitation.
yeah, that's slavery. Man.
I'd expected that when the industry does open up and jobs become available, that of course pilot salaries would not be what they used to be, but that.
No, that's
Suddenly Ryanair sounds pretty worthwhile.
highest paid airline in the world. Yeah. Locally, not that they were advertising jobs, but you see RBOM in Nigeria, they won 5 more 900s by CRJ 900s by 2023. They're growing quite rapidly. Quite nice for the local guys with CRJ ratings to maybe start looking at them.
Yeah, keep an eye out on that.
Keep an eye out. And we've spoken about the borders opening already, but Africa definitely got the vibe now that it's going to start opening. And then more and more jobs will pop up. So the guys that are hell-bent on not using their transferable skills and only wanting to fly aircraft, keep a lookout, because there's a few jobs that are going to become available shortly.
Well, during this time, and now that we're starting with this, during this time, maybe let's hope that some of the guys have been listening, and they've got their CV up and running, they got their social platform up and running, so that, because airlines are going to start doing this as well. I think they're going to be a lot more picky. They're not going to just say, well, what are your hours? They want to understand who you are, and I think that's going to become more and more a thing. Your reputation now is going to be worth everything going forward. If you are not, as they say, courting attention, as in standing up there and saying, guys, here I am, look at me, see who I am, then you're not going to get noticed, because you're going to be surrounded by 100,000 other desperate pilots out there. And effectively, you've got to stand up and put yourself out there to such an extent that they come to you, and that is ideal.
What do you suggest the guys do there, Brett? We've spoken about this before, but you're good at this stuff. LinkedIn, obviously, you would think it's a professional platform. So get a LinkedIn profile. You don't have to use it, but set it up. Brett, go.
Well, one of the things that I'm not a gamer, but if anyone is a gamer out there, there's a term called an NPC, a non-player character. So that is, I gather, if you're playing a game, it has characters on the sideline. And effectively, those are what a lot of people are on this planet. They are NPCs, non-player characters. They will go where they're told, they will stand where they're told to stand, they will do what they're told to do. You've got to be different nowadays. You have got to be one of those guys who stands up and says, this is who I am. I'm going to tell you how good I am. I'm going to show you how good I am. I'm going to tell you that I'm a really good person and I can do the job, and I'll do the job better than anybody else out there, even a pilot with thousands of hours ahead of me. And this is what I can bring to your organization. So yes, LinkedIn is important. Getting out there.
And that's not about being arrogant when you doing
be
that
arrogant.
Stuff.
Be arrogant.
You need to be. You got to push your own brand.
Yeah.
You mentioned it there. The airlines will start looking at professional platforms before they look at your well-prepared CV that you've sent them. So
they're going to be looking at 10,000 well-prepared CVs. What are you doing to stand out?
So where do you start? Your profile page, just getting on. What are you thinking? I mean, as an airline pilot who's now sort of open to other work, but is focused on getting another airline job. Decent profile, nice clear profile picture, clear layout of who you are, where you've been, and what you can bring to the table.
And point your prospective employer to those things. Let them go and have a look at you straight away. You got a recruitment agent looking at a piece of paper. Maybe if you're lucky, there's a picture there. Maybe a picture's irrelevant, but actually not, because you're going to sell yourself instantaneously, as opposed to Joe Blogs means nothing. Hey, check, I can see let me have a look at his LinkedIn profile. Hey, I'm seeing what this person is all about. Suddenly you become real to them. Exactly. You have to step up. You have to be that flame, as it were, and let the moss come to you.
Show them that you believe in yourself and you've overcome all your own doubts. And something that I've come across in quite a bit of social media content that I've been reading up the last couple of days is there's a lot of a big push where people are saying, get out of your own way. With all these reservations, get creative, do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Yeah, a good way to start, if anyone is a little bit nervous to actually get going on these platforms, rather than posting your own stuff, then interact with others that are posting. Like a comment on someone else's post. That's a good way to get your foot in the door and to actually see what's going on. When you're not on these platforms, you also miss out on all these little bits of advice that become available. I follow Bronwyn Wheel. She adds a little thing, try this, try that. Alex McPhail from he puts on good advice, change this with your profile page.
And there's a variety.
It's a variety. It's endless. There's a lot of people offering little bits of advice. Karine Stadler from she was with Emirates. They've started their own company. They deal with a lot little nips of advice that are well worth it to take on. So
well, if you're not on that social media, you're not going to see any of that in any case. So you're already 10 steps behind the guy who is even looking on LinkedIn, or if you're not on, you can't see job opportunities. You can't better yourself, because we all need help. Nobody got there alone.
You can't see when the latest Brian Air episode came out.
Well, that's where I was pushing to.
Unless you subscribe.
That's where all the real information is.
Get on there and call us if you want. Send us a mail, give us a shout, and we'll help you set up that account. If you don't know how, we'll help you set it up. But your next job interview is probably going to be online, and your CV is probably going to be written on a profile like that. So give it a bit of thought and put a bit of effort into it. Can we thank a few people? We've had some very loyal supporters from the start. There's some guys, Dave Sands for one.
Yeah.
He picked up the phone, he called me the other day, he said, guys, thank you so much, love the show. It gives us such a boost. It's so awesome when that happens. Mark Mason in Durban, Mark being a supporter from the start.
Daryl
Rudman, a lot of good guys out there. Of course, the biggest supporters are our immediate family, my mom, my aunt in the UK and Cape Town, my sister.
My mom and my brothers and everyone in my family is
Brett's
number one
dad.
fans.
I think Brett's dad's our biggest fan, actually.
Yeah, no, he probably is, without a doubt.
Shout out to Brett's dad.
When I leave in the morning, he says, can I listen to the podcast? Like, Dad, I haven't recorded yet.
If you thought I was bad at pushing out some YouTube subscribers, you check my mom. She's on a crusade.
I know,
love it.
She's one of our top fans. Yeah.
But isn't something missing from my coffee?
More coffee?
Wasn't there a rusk?
Oh, the rusk. Oh,
Wasn't
yes.
there a rusk?
I
don't know. I've only had one
Brett,
rusk that I stole.
You didn't get to taste it, man.
No.
And I stole one.
The plan was to have, like we've done on previous shows, have a few rusks here for us to eat, because we got given a nice bunch of rusks from Sarita Volland.
Yeah.
I'll leave her details in the show notes. She makes the best rusks, and unfortunately we flattened them all already. So there's none on the show.
Sorry,
Thank God. There were about 3 packs. I think they lasted about half an hour.
Yeah.
But they're great. And
Clearly I'm the only one who's not worried about a dad bod.
Yeah.
COVID body. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Listen, one more thing. Just want to wish old Captain Mark Dutton a happy birthday. It was his birthday on Wednesday.
Mark's also a hell of a loyal supporter.
Yeah, and he must go down as one of my aviation mentors.
He's a legend.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's going to hate us for saying this.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Mark's one of these guys, he does not like attention.
Yeah.
And thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great
It's
guy.
always awesome. And guys, last week's show, it was a bit more narrow. We concentrated on the positivity side of it. And we put that out in that show. We are here 24/7 for any of the guys that just want to pick up the phone, have a chat, offer a bit of advice to, like we said, on the social side, on the media side. If you want help setting up accounts, setting up your own personal LinkedIn accounts or whatever it might be, give us a shout. Brett is very sharp at that stuff. I'm learning all the time. Ryan is learning all the time. And we want to help. We want to support you guys. We want to support aviation. We certainly want to support the aviators and all the cabin crew as well. There's a lot of cabin crew supporters we got.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's our aim, guys. Support aviation and support the aviators. We sat yesterday in a bit of a crew meeting here, said let's sort of formalize what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do.
And the related industries. The tourism, the hospitality, those B&Bs, that is the cornerstone of a country.
Exactly.
And without that, a country's going absolutely nowhere. So anyone that we can support, that's what we're there for.
That's what we're here for.
It's about that support, and obviously just reminding everyone every week to just stay positive.
Stay positive, stay motivated, and things are going to turn around. And when they do, we'll still be here to support you. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Happy
guys.
weekend.
Well, that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for listening and for your continued support. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and pass the show on to your friends, your families, and your colleagues. If you'd like to get in touch with us, my email address is in the show details. Stay positive, keep the passion alive, and we'll see you next week. Cheers for now.